Hey again, welcome back to Coding with Drew. In this section, we're going to talk about test commands and conditional operators for Bash. So a test command allows you to compare two different pieces of information. This is really useful to determine if a condition is met or not. The test command outputs to what is known as a Boolean. So if you're not familiar, a Boolean is just a simple output of true or false. True will return an exit code of 0, where a false will return an exit code of 1. So true equals 0 and false equals 1. To create a test, all you need to do is use two square brackets, just like this. And inside of it, you need two things to compare. So 1 and 1. Now, if you've followed along, you've heard me say that your parentheses and brackets, they all need breathing room. So make sure that you have space after each one. And in between the two things that you're going to compare, you need to use an operator. So the first one we're going to learn about is equals. So dash EQ. So 1 equals 1. Okay, so we ran that and we don't know anything about what just happened underneath the hood, right? Bash comes with this really cool feature and it's $? Question mark. So if I do this, I will see the output of the Boolean for the comparator that was previously ran. So that's all this does. It'll tell you whether it's a 0 or a 1. So if I did the same command, but I said 1 equals 2, and then I ran echo question mark, I see that it has an exit of 1 or false. Okay, that's not too terrible. What about another option for another comparator that we could use for numbers? Let's see. So 1 not equals 2 space, close the brackets. And then we do an echo $? Question mark. We can see that that was true or exit code 0. Okay, this is really useful and helpful. So let's take this another step. Let's look at all the different options we have when comparing integers. So you have dash EQ for equals, you have dash NE for not equals, dash GT for greater than, dash LT for less than, you have dash GEQ for greater than or equal to, and dash LEQ for less than or equal to. And you can use these all just like we did before by saying is 1 dash less than 3 space, close the brackets. And then we can echo $? Let's combine what we've already learned with chaining our commands, and we'll use and echo this evaluates to true. So if, for example, I change this from less than to greater than, you can see that the latter didn't run. It evaluated to false or exit code 1. So you can probably start to see some application for this. I don't know. If this condition wasn't met, I don't want to run the code that comes afterwards. Or if this condition was false and I used a bar, I would want this to run. So just tying it all together. Integers are different from strings, and strings have different test operators. So let's look at some string operators. These are slightly different. Now with integers, you use one single bracket, but with strings, you use two, much like when you're doing math. Okay, so we give it some breathing room and we say string 1 equals string 1. Okay, so let's do that. And then we'll echo $? Let's see what happens. Okay, so that evaluated to true. But what if we change this to 2? So the output of the string comparison for string 1 equals string 2 is false. Okay, but it didn't error. That's interesting. Okay, so let's do this. Let's make this back to a 1 and add a bang. Bang equals or not equals. So you can see that the operators for the comparisons for numbers is slightly different from the not equals in strings. Okay, there's some other ones that are interesting, so let's look at those. Okay, so let's take and compare and see if a string is empty or not. So let's say string 1 equals Drew. String 2 equals double quotes. So there's nothing in there. All right. So if I wanted to evaluate whether or not string 1 had something in it, I could do a double comparison space and say -z string 1. I need a $sign in front of it, $sign curly brackets. And then I'm going to say echo $sign question mark. Let's see what happens. All right, so this evaluated to false because Drew is the result of string 1. Now, if I do string 2, which has an empty value, we'll see that it is true. And this is because this string is empty. And Z will always result in a 0 if its value is null or none. So it's looking for something empty. Okay, and then there's in. So in does the inverse of Z. So if I was to do -in for string 1, echo $sign question mark, I'll see that it's true. That's the inverse of what happened here. And if I do the same thing for string 2, which is empty, it'll come back false. And this is because it's looking to see if there is a value inside of the string or not. If there is not, then it will return false. Okay, that's pretty cool. There's a number of other file test operators, which will be in the notes section at the bottom of this video. I'll see you in the next video.